yes, it's me again, the old git. I'm here to entertain you and also to have my rant. I want you today to take my rant real serious because it is. And what we'll be discussing with you today, or pointing out a few facts and figures in regard to the two idiot parties or amalgamation of the Green Party and the silent Islamic takeover, which it's what it is. You know, I had a lot of respect for the Green Party before they did this unholy alliance with the Islamic people. I would say, as I've explained before, all Muslims are not bad people, but they're controlled a lot by the mosques of the community, and they basically go along with what they're told to do. Not because they want to, because they are afraid not to, because of the threats that have been put out to them. So, the Green Party are there with the Islamic voters, shall we say. The Islamic voters want to infiltrate this party and then to dominate it. And that's their MO, that's what they do, basically. So before the Islamic takeover or intended takeover of the Green Party, because that's what's happening, all the everything they did to the run up to the election of the current leader and all the rest of it was to do with environment and green things, which is good. It was good to have them in the background, and sometimes their views were, taken by the ruling parties, by the party that's in government. Anyway, but I think it's a very dangerous marriage right now. So let's get into it. Now, the perceived danger and the allegations of infiltration regarding collaboration between the Green Party and the Muslim community stem from complex mix of electrical shifts. Now, ideological friction and security concerns, that's what we're talking about. The critics often label this as a red-green-brown alliance, while supporters view it as a natural evolution of progressive coalition building. I don't go with that. And I'm going to go through why in a minute. I think it's very important that you understand why I'm saying and doing what I'm doing today. Now, sectarian politics the critics particularly following a recent election win for the Green Party in the UK, that was the Gorton and Denton one in early 2026. Now, they argue that the party has moved from environmentalism towards a toxic alliance with anti-Israel sentiments. And again, that panders to the radical Islamist thoughts. And also the fact that the leader, the deputy leader, turns out to be, or one of the two deputy leaders of the Green Party, is Mothin Ali. And he is an activist. He's a friend of Jeremy Corbyn, and basically he got elected to his local council, standing on the ticket of, Free Palestine and Gaza. So this is sometimes described as mainstreaming sectarian Muslim politics. And that's what I think is going on. I basically think that the Green Party is now going to be infiltrated to a large extent. They will get the Muslim vote. Basically, Keir Starmer can go and basically pee up a wall because he's not going to get the Muslim vote. Because all the mosques and everywhere, they say, you'll vote for the Greens because that's our party, that's the one that supports us, that's the one that has their literature in Urdu, and we stand for Muslims, blah, blah. This is all due, again, to the new leader Zach Polanski or David Polden, whatever you want to call him. That man's a dangerous man because all he wants is fame. He's failed at everything he's ever tried to do. You know, he was the man that I think he stood for, was it Liberal Democrats, I think, in the Congress or something in the town, something like that he did. But he wanted to be an actor, he failed. He wanted to be a singer, he's failed. And now he wants to be a politician and thinks he can save the world with his ridiculous standpoint, shall we say. I mean, one of the meetings he had, I'm not going to put any video on this because I think it was disgusting. They had a rally, some kind of rally in London the other day, and it was men in gimpy men with scantily clad. It was awful what was going on that stage. I thought, well, you know, that's not very nice. And is that what we want to depict as our politicians to other countries? The caliber of our politicians are going to be men in gimp suits and, you know, whatever. Anyway, but critics have characterized the party now as a Trojan horse. And I think that's a good analogy because that's exactly how I think. And for Islamists, and it's basically it's geared for the Islamist agenda. So it's suggested that extremist leaders may exploit the party's platform to advance separatist and anti-Western worldview. Well, that says it. But let's look at the differences and how can these two people or these two parties be in the same bed? How can they be bedfellows, shall we say? Well, let me just bring up a little chart here. Now, I'm going to run through this with you because the differences in their ideology. Now, the Green Party versus Islamist ideology, shall we say. Now, the primary goal for the Greens, or was, environmental sustainability and social justice. That is the view that the Green Party that I know and love actually took. Although I wouldn't vote for them, I didn't disagree with them. Islam, they want implementing of Sharia law and Islamic governance. Now, basically, there's no way on this earth that the goals, they've got a completely different set of goals, which is ridiculous. But then, if we move on to the foundation of it all, the Greens work, they are science-based, secular and rational. Islam, faith-based, Islamist interpretation of everything. That doesn't really stand very well with anybody. But again, they're totally at different ends of the spectrum in their ideologies. We get the social view, which is there, you can see. And the social view of the Green Party is progressive, LGBTQ plus, rights, feminism, that kind of thing. Islam, socially conservative, traditional. They oppose gay people, they oppose trans people, they oppose anything that's not socially, in their eyes, socially acceptable to their way of thinking. Again, find me a radical Islamist that will support LGBTQ plus. You won't find one. There isn't one because it's totally against their ideology. And feminists, how can you be a feminist in a country or belong to a religion that sees women as not even a second-class citizen? I've heard them say that women are like shoes. You wear them or you don't. The two ideologies in every aspect just don't fit in with each other. And again, we're looking at LGBTQ rights, and the Greens, as I say, they championed it's their core policy. The actual leader, this ridiculous man, I've got no time for it, I think he's awful, right, is Zach Polanski, he's gay and married. Now, Islam, on their religious grounds are often opposed on religious grounds, totally accepting any of the above. And again, I mean, these differences, you could probably find more differences, but I'm just giving these the grassroots ideology of each one. The legal system that they would use. Well, the Greens, they would take the approach of a secular, humanistic approach. That's fine. Islam, Sharia influenced law. In other words, not the words of the land. It's based on the Sharia law, which is the law of the Quran, or it's basically a religious law. And then we get on to the freedoms. Now, Green focus on individual and civil liberties. That's okay. We'll all agree with that. But focus, the Islamic, they put it in a very nice way. They focus on community and cohesion and Islamic rules. Do I need to go into them? I don't think so. You can look them up yourself. So, again, the evidence is there to show that these two ideologies, the Green Party and the Muslim Islamists, who will force the vote to go to the Green Party so they can infiltrate it and then eventually take it over and get their seats in Parliament. Well, and you people, if you go out and vote for that, you deserve all you can get. But it will happen, because there's another reason, which I'm going to, why they are very dangerous. Now, the Green Party, they're targeting certain boroughs across the country. But I'm going to focus on London, because I think London's a fair place, because in certain places like in Bradford and Leeds and Birmingham, the figures would be even worse. So I know that they're targeting several boroughs in London. So I'm going to go through borough by borough, because I think, well, I'll tell you what they are first. I think that's best. The boroughs that they identified as potential targets for the Green takeover just in London include Hackney, Lambeth, Lewisham, Wandsworth, Hammersmith and Fulham, Greenwich, Brent, Hounslow and Waltham Forest. Now, why is it, do you think, they want them? Let's go through the figures. I'm going to bore you with figures, but there's one of these figures that you should consider each time I tell you about those. There's very many more, so I'll just go through these because they only involve London. And, you know, there's Keir Starmer thinking he's going to get his all the Muslim votes from there. But he got choked up then. Now, so let's first take Hackney. Now, Hackney, it's highly diverse. It's a highly diverse London borough where approximately 47% of residents belong to black and global majority groups, while white British residents make up 34% of the population. Now, the demographic for me there is not looking too good. So we say that it's the not all black people will vote for Zach Polanski, that's to be sure. And the well-established groups in Hackney will probably not. But there's also a percentage of the white middle-class idiots who will vote for the Green Party. Now, 34 to 36% of the population of that borough, which is way low, significantly a demographic include other whites as well, meaning it could be white people from other countries. So take that, it's approximately 12% of those, 12% black African, and 11 to 12% of the black Caribbean, 7 to 10% of other groups. Those figures I'm not interested in. I'm only interested in that one figure of 36% of white British people reside in Hackney. Okay. Now, according to the 2021 census, which is the only figures, this is far different from now. It says that in that census, and I think that census would not be valid today, but it's the only one I could find, 13% of Hackney residents identified as Muslim. The borough has one of the highest concentrations of Muslim residents in London, with 2021 population that remains a significant part of the diverse borough and religious landscape. And that was actually in 2021. We're now in 2026. 2026, it's come on a bit from then, hasn't it? How many more would it be? I can't tell you because there's no figures that I can find that show me how many more Muslims. But let's go with 13%. But 13% is a high proportion, and only 34% of white British live there. So that's the first where they have a really good chance of the Greens, with the aid of some ridiculous people, not just the Muslims, could actually take that borough with the Muslim vote plus whatever other people they have that vote Green in that area. When we move on to, for example, now, we're going to move on to Lambeth Council. Well, again, the only census I could find with any figures that would give me any indication were the 2021-22 data. Well, Lambeth is highly diverse, as it always has been, in a London borough with around 57% of the residents identified as white. Well, that's including white, British, Irish and others. And 43% identify as black and Asian. So very multi-ethnic. And according to that same census, 8% of the population in the London borough of Lambeth identify as Muslim. 8%, which is lower than the London average. But again, taking the way that people are voting, some of these idiots who believe in what the Green Party used to stand for and can't see that they're being infiltrated, well, with that 8%, which I'm sure that they're going to get because they won't be voting for Labour anymore. So again, Lambeth could be another place that gets taken over. Well, I'm going to move on to Lewisham. And again, all these figures are based on the 2021 census, and about 300,000 people live in Lewisham. And the breakdown is simply like this. Now, 51.5% of the residents identify as white. Includes white British, which is only 37%. The other people from other countries who are white, who identify as white, or whoever they are, I don't know who they are, but basically only 37.2% are actually white. Now there again, they are in the minority, and they could be pushed out. There's traditional Labour voters, but I think we might lose them, And the black British and black Welsh, black Caribbean and African, they go very intensive. There's about 26.8 of the residents who identify with that category as being in black or black British, black Welsh, Caribbean, African. Okay, so their percentage is quite low too. And according to the census, again, which is obviously changed since it was last released, 7.4% of the residents in the borough identify as Muslims, which again is quite a high percentage for one group of people, because if you split up the black British, black Welsh, Caribbean and African, they would make up certain, I don't want to break them down, but you could. And they would be very much in the minority. And 37% white, well, there you go, white British we're talking about. Again, another target for Zach Polanski's Green Party is, of course, Lewisham. Wandsworth is another place that they've tried to get hold of. Now, where are we? We've had Lewisham, yes. Let's have Wandsworth. Wandsworth Town Hall, there it is. Now, according to the same census, Wandsworth has a population of 237,000, of which 67.8 are white, and only 10.1% of black, including African, Caribbean, and black British. 11.6 are Asian. Approximately 30% of the residents identify as black or Asian. So quite a high percentage. Okay. The total Muslim population it gives you there is about 32,000, which is again from 2021, with they say 9.9% of the borough population is Muslim. Wandsworth has one of the top 50 highest Muslim populations numbers in local authorities across England and Wales. Apparently so. So again, you see how these boroughs could be split, basically taken by this ridiculous Green Party. Hammersmith and Fulham. It's another one, isn't it? Hammersmith and Fulham. Oh, there you go. Same census. Roughly, now this one's interesting. Roughly, it says the borough is highly diverse, with roughly 38.3% of residents identifying as white, and a 61.7% from other ethnic backgrounds, including 23% black. You've got the black British, 7% of mixed groups. And it says about 12% of the population identify as Muslim. Very, very diverse, very, very ethnic. But you see, if we were living in Spain now and these figures came up, it wouldn't happen. Because in Spain, if you're not born in Spain, okay, and you're not Spanish, you can vote, as I've said before, in local elections, but general elections, no way, Jose, you cannot. But that's another example again of why these boroughs could fall to the Greens, because obviously nobody likes Mr. Starmer, the granny harmer. Greenwich, another one, yeah? I hope I'm not boring, but I think you should know this, because I want you to think of this now when I'm doing just London-based, and then consider what's going on across the country and how it could affect the votes. Now, Greenwich, based on the same census, 289,000 people, and approximately 161,000 of the residents are white, British, and other white backgrounds. 60,600 residents African, Caribbean, and other backgrounds, and Asian, 38 residents Indian, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Chinese, and whatever. So multiple mixed ethnic groups. Approximately 10,600 residents, as it says here, Muslims, based on the 2020, about 24,715,000 residents who identify as Muslims. I didn't give you that in percentages, which you can see. It's higher than the black community, and 24,000 is quite high for that particular. But again, that's Greenwich. You would expect that to be mainly white, but it isn't. And Brent. Well, Brent. Again, this is another area where the Green Party could clean up. And again, it's based on the same census. And as I said, the figures have significantly increased since that census. But we're saying the white residents make up about 34%. And that's including 15.2% white British. The remaining majority comprises of mixed ethnic groups with high Asian, approximately 30%, and black, approximately 18% communities. Muslims now there are in actual fact in that borough, the borough of Brent, and again, figures are out of date, but you can get the picture on numbers that I'm telling you. 21%. Now, there's not much difference between 15.2% white British, 34.6 white people, 15.2% white British, and then the rest is other ethnic mixes. So if it was only white people, the residents of people who were born in this country voting, well, that would be fine, but it isn't, is it? 21% of that borough are basically Muslim voters, and they'll go to the Greens, and so will many others of those communities. Just a couple more before you fall asleep, okay? So we looked at Brent. Let's have a look at Hounslow. Hounslow, there we go. Hounslow. Again, straight away, I won't go into all the details, but 44.1% of the population, including white, British, Irish, and white background, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian, that's the other whites, are basically 41.1%, okay? White. Asian, 36.7% of the population, okay? And out of that particular Asian group, 16.67% of the borough population, 48,000 people, they actually identify as Muslims. Again, ranking Hounslow as one of the highest concentrations of Muslim residents in England and Wales, ranking 19th out of the local authorities. Now, mostly ones with the most, they ranked at 19th. If you look at the number one ranked, then, which I go and have a look and I'll tell you, they'll be in the north of England. They'll have a higher percentage of Muslims. Waltham Forest, well, we'll do that. I won't bore you too much more. Just that this was I've covered the boroughs that are being sought after by the Muslim residents and by the Green Party, sorry. So Waltham Forest is based on the same census, right? It says 64% from, with around 64% from the ethnic group of the white British Irish population, 50% black. So I'll read out this quite quickly. So white British and other black British and other whites only makes up 18% there, but it's a lower population, alongside mixed ethnic groups, which they make up 64% of. So again, you can see the problem there too. It says Muslim population 22%. So think of that way. That's Waltham Forest. Do you think that one will go to the Greens or it'll go to Labour? You tell me. Anyway, the moral of the story is that come the 7th of May, I think is when the local elections come, those that I've just mentioned, those particular boroughs, if you're interested, you should watch, because that will give you an idea. You've got Hackney, Lambeth, Lewisham, Wandsworth, Hammersmith, Fulham, Greenwich, Brent, Hounslow, and Waltham Forest. And how many more are going to fall to these idiots, these people who can't see that they're being infiltrated, can't see that their ideologies do not mix in any way, shape or form. Their ideologies just do not mix. Whichever way you look at it, it's a takeover. And the only people who can stop this from happening is you. So please, if you're watching this video now, please share it amongst you, as many as you can. Share. And you can go to watch the videos that I do on Rumble or on YouTube or on my website or on Substacks. Yes, I'm on Substacks as well. Go and watch them. Go and have a look at the videos, because a lot of my predictions that I've done in the past, they have actually come true. I'm not a super intelligent person. I'm an old person who's lived a long life, and I can see what's in front of my eyes. And in my whole of my 72 years, I cannot for the life of me think of a worse time than we're having now. So listen, folks, I'm not going to bore you anymore because I think I'll give you enough information. Just think on if you've got any influence at all on the people like that you think are going to vote for the Greens, and you can influence them anyway, then please do, because they don't really understand. I would like to see the Green Party back as it was, looking at the ideology, their ideology of green Britain and green this and green other, and and don't pull at this and don't. Okay, maybe they get on your nerves a bit, but they were not dangerous. And when the party changes its name to the Green Islamic Party, you will see where you've been infiltrated, where they have seats in Parliament. Already, the modus operandi has been carried out in the takeover of our country. Please, don't call me conspiracy theorist. Just go on social network and hear why they do the things they do. And as I said, you say, why do the moderates or the nice Muslims, why don't they speak out? But I tell you, they don't speak out because they're afraid of what might happen to them if they do. It's only the very brave, like Ben Habib and Zia Yusuf and a few more, that come out and they're strong and they do well. But, they're Muslim, they come from Muslim backgrounds. It's not all Muslims, please understand that. But it seems, as J.D. Vance said not long ago, that Britain could be the first Islamist country with a nuclear weapon. It could very well happen when we've got such a weak government in power. If Britain had been somewhere like, Venezuela or a place like that, the people would have taken to the streets and they would have taken power back from these ridiculous people. Yes, you voted for them, you got them in, and only today I hear that they want to take everybody back into the EU, which is the biggest mistake, because that's another failing organisation that has generally been taken over too. Okay, the old gets had his rant. I hope I haven't bored you too much. But I will say this, if you don't vote the right way, if you don't start to open your eyes and see that your country is no longer your country, and becoming somebody else's, not yours, and only today I hear that they want to ban dogs from public places. How ridiculous. Who is making these decisions? I don't know. Anyway, the old gets here. There's me socials, all running along the bottom there. bestbeforetv@gmail.com or bestbeforet. Get in touch with me. Subscribe to my whatever. And put a like or a comment. And hopefully I will see you all very soon. Till the next time, the old gift is basically out of here.